Today I'm going to talk about how alcohol affects your senses. Sight, sound, smell, touch, and taste are all of our senses that our brain uses to collect information about what's going on around you, both inside and outside of your body. So what really happens to your senses when you drink alcohol? Well, your senses become dulled and you overall just slow down. Your senses don't work up to their full effectiveness. Think of it as a delay in your senses. The speed at which they normally work slows down quite dramatically. For an example, think about the glitching you might see when you're watching a Netflix movie and it decides to start buffering in the middle of the best part. It's taking a pause and it's not working as it should be, slowing down the entire process of you watching that movie. Since alcohol depresses the nervous system, it slows down communication between your neurotransmitters in your brain. Those are the chemicals that move information back and forth between your brain and your body. So when your brain can't process the information at full speed, your senses are affected and don't work as well as they normally do. You may experience blurred vision, slurred speech, numbness in your fingers and your toes, and your reaction time slows down dramatically. And I know I was totally guilty of this, talking louder when I drank. Well, that was because my hearing was impaired by the alcohol, and I had no idea that this is why I was doing it. Now that I don't drink, I notice this all the time with people around me who are drinking. And our sense of touch is also affected. You don't experience pain on the same threshold level as if you were sober. I have a story that I want to share with you about my experience with this. So probably about 10 years ago, I was going to my husband's work holiday party. This was a party that I would go to every year with him, and I had enormous social anxiety about going to this party. I had social anxiety in general, but going to this holiday party / dinner, it was always at a really nice restaurant. And of course, as soon as I walked in the door, I would just start drinking. And this one particular year, it was at this really nice restaurant in New York. And I made a pact with myself. I said, okay. And I told my husband as well, because I have a history of over drinking at these parties. And I told him that I promise I will not drink heavily. I will watch what I'm drinking. And how many times did I promise myself I was going to do that? So anyway, go to the party. I see that they're serving sangria. So I decided, sangria is probably a better choice for me instead of drinking red wine, full-bodied red wine like I always did. Sangria, at least I felt like was cut down a little bit. I had the seltzer mixed in. So it was almost like in my mind, I was thinking more like a spritzer option. So I decided to go with the sangria. Well, I started drinking sangria. I don't know how many glasses I had. It was almost like that mental piece where I said to myself, well, since it's cut down a little bit, I could just probably drink just as much, if not a little more. And of course, being there, my anxiety was ramped up. So I was drinking my sangria. I thought I was paying attention and doing a good job. And in my mind, I truly thought I was drinking less than I normally would with just drinking red wine. So anyway, at this party, part of the dinner was that the guests at the restaurant, us, were responsible for having cook prepare this dinner. So people were split up in groups. We were put into groups, and I was assigned to assisting in helping make the salad for the meal. So it seemed like a fun, good idea at the time, before we heard about this whole party. But anyway, I got assigned to do the salad station with, I think, maybe 2 or 3 of my husband's coworkers. So we go over to the station, and I'm handed a huge knife to start chopping up vegetables, okay, for the salad. Okay, so I start chopping up vegetables, chopping them up. Well, guess what happened? Allison cut the tip of her finger off and didn't even notice. Yes, I cut the tip of my finger off, and I didn't even know. I picked my hand up and I saw blood dripping from my hand. Talk about horrifying embarrassment, okay? So, of course, I had to get help. Somebody in the restaurant came over and they assisted me, and they had to take me and basically wrap up my finger. And it was crazy to me that I didn't feel it. I really didn't feel it. I mean, my fingers were so numb from all the alcohol I was drinking that I didn't feel it. So again, they took care of me. I was completely humiliated. I completely humiliated my husband. And after that, I was just so drunk that he took me home. Like, we had to end the night early. I ruined the night because of all of this. And um, in the end, I found out the next day that the sangria wasn't just red wine and seltzer like I thought it was. It was red wine mixed with hard alcohol as well. So, yeah, so that's what happened with me. I ended up drinking too much and cut the tip of my finger off and didn't even feel it. So that's my numbing sense and one of my stories I could share with you. So just keep in mind that our senses act as an early warning system. They help keep us safe. We can easily detect if there's a danger around us by using all 5 of our senses. And they can also help us feel good, right? So smelling a flower can bring you joy. Having a massage can provide you with relaxation. And even listening to music can give you a quick jump in your energy level. I know I do that a lot when I just feel I need a pick-me-up. It also, our senses get numbed by not allowing our brain to form memories because of the slowdown of our senses and what goes on in the brain. So you don't get that sensual information of an experience stored in your brain. So those all-inclusive vacations that went on in the Caribbean, they seemed so awesome at the time. But I have to admit that I'm sad that I don't remember much of it, since I was drinking all day, starting with mimosas for breakfast. So many special events and trips with my sons have forever lost memories, and it's all because I prioritized my drinking, which led me to not being fully present. So many moms drink to chill out or to numb at the end of the day. I get it. I used to do that too. They just want to feel that comfort and that release of stress and anxiety at the end of the day, and they sometimes look at drinking as a reward at the end of the day. This is also a sign that their nervous system is activated or dysregulated. Actually being mindful and paying attention to your senses helps you regulate your nervous system. A somatic practice that you can try to help regulate your nervous system is called orienting. So it puts you in direct connection, mindfulness connection with your sight, your taste, your hearing, your touch, and your smell. And you can practice this exercise on any of those areas that you choose. So basically it would just be you sitting in your chair or wherever you're at and just focusing. For example, if you were to use sight, just focusing on one object in your environment and just letting yourself sit there and take some deep breaths and allow yourself to have a sight, like just a very slight gaze, a very light gaze on that object. And just sit there for a couple minutes and just even 1 or 2 minutes and just let yourself really focus on that object and just have that gentle gaze on that object. And then after a couple of minutes of doing that and taking those deep breaths, just see if anything shifted. See how you feel after that. You can also just do, it's a simple practice. Mindfulness is just the next time you go outside for a walk, focus on the sounds of the birds chirping or how the breeze feels on your face. Simple ideas that can make a world of a difference for regulating your nervous system and just like bringing down your entire stress level. Our senses are something that we may be taking for granted. I know I do sometimes. So just taking a break during the day to focus on and appreciate your senses can make you actually ask yourself, what can I do to take care of my senses and allow them to be the guide they're meant to be? I hope this helped open your eyes more on how alcohol affects your senses. And I will see you in the next video.